Jameis Winston, the starting quarterback for this coming season, at least for game one, after a training camp battle with Taysom Hill. Jameis, who looked the part in their last preseason game, is going to be the guy. So, Nick, are the Saints making the right move, going with Jameis over Taysom?
Well, yeah, I mean, going with Jameis over Taysom, over Simeon, over Book, over the other two actual quarterbacks on the roster, yeah, definitely. I mean, listen, we just showed La Tortuga pitching. He's not a pitcher. We could show Taysom Hill playing quarterback. He's not a quarterback. You can do things that aren't your position for fun or to try him out or for novelty, and that's what Taysom Hill as a starting quarterback was always going to be. Taysom, and by the way, this is where the Saints are really fortunate, is that Jameis played well and that Jameis didn't, look terrible this preseason and they felt like their hand was forced. Because by Jameis playing quarterback, it allows you to play Taysom where he can actually help you as that utility, do-it-all type of player that might throw a few passes on trick plays. But Taysom Hill, as a starting quarterback in this league, was dead on arrival. And I didn't understand why Sean Payton wanted to pretend that wasn't the case. I didn't understand last year why he seemed committed when they were in a playoff push, that they were going to start him over Jameis, even though, thanks to their defense, they won more of those games than they lost. But this was never a real battle in anyone's mind but Sean Payton's. And I'm glad, mercifully, Coach, that we can stop pretending that the Saints have a quarterback question. Jameis Winston is the only actual quarterback on their roster that has any chance of leading them to success with respect to Trevor Simeon, who is a seventh-round pick, made a nice career for himself, but you don't want him to be a starting quarterback. So, yeah, they're making the right decision.
Well, you're right in the sense that it does allow them to utilize probably the best skill sets of both guys. And Taysom as a change of pace guy coming in and being able to do the quarterback-driven runs and create all the problems that we talk about when you've got a player like that and what that pressure it puts on opposing defenses. So that's good. And there's a lot of discussion now from the analytics side about the value of big plays. And obviously Jameis gives you the best potential to create big plays. And the thought process is that big plays are more important than turnovers. And I'm not sure that's the case. I don't. Wow. It's hard for me to believe that's going to play out. And the success of this experiment is how much that Jameis has actually learned from his previous experience. When you throw 88 interceptions over the course of your career, when that's the thing that is continually making your team lose, and the reason that you had to change locations, you've got to get that corrected. Now it's hard for me to think of cases where a guy who threw or throws a lot of interceptions suddenly dramatically changes who he is. But hopefully for him and for the Saints that is the case. And I love the quote, you don't always have to be Batman. You can be Bruce Wayne. And if he lives that and takes the checkdowns and doesn't take the unnecessary chances, this could be a great thing for his career. It could be a great thing for the Saints. But it's one winning season in 5 years as a starter in a new location doesn't bode well.
All right, so Coach, I think that the common idea here is like, hey, Jameis will start, we'll bring Taysom in, change of pace. It confuses the defense. The defensive coordinator has to plan a lot more. The Saints offense feels versatile. I'm not 100% sure that is going to work if you were just in the middle of a quarterback battle. Jameis, number one pick. He started all the game. He hadn't started in a long time, but he's a starting quarterback. Am I just supposed to assume that Jameis, rhythm-wise as he gets into it, is going to be cool or at least be at his best if Taysom
ever? Greg, does Rodgers finally have the weapons he's always wanted?
Well, what's interesting about this is every year we've been like, well, he needs another receiver. He needs more weapons. He needs more depth at that position. But now you listen to him, and he's saying, we got what we need.
Nope,
we
we're
got
good.
basically what I need to be successful. And so I'm not going to argue with them. I think that they have a solid core. They all complement each other really well. They all do different things. You obviously got the #1 guy in the National Football League in Davante Adams. But I think the most important part and piece to this core is MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. And the reason why is because he stretches the field, and his confidence, the way he played last year, the plays that he made, if he can catch a lot of those other balls that he did not and just take another step forward, he is the one that will pop off of the tape every time you turn the film on, alongside of Davante Adams. Randall Cobb is very important to work that middle, and Allen Lazard does a lot of the dirty work, the physical guy, the bruiser, the guy you got to have in your wide receiver unit room. But MVS, he has speed to burn. And if he is successful and consistent, which is a word that Aaron Rodgers uses when talking about him, he's the one to watch.
So here's the thing. I was just trying to look up the numbers.
You're back.
From the last time Greg Jennings, for the last time Aaron Rodgers, I should say, had 4 receivers he really trusted. And I feel like that ended in a Super Bowl and then a 15-1 season. And Greg Jennings was intimately involved in it. You, Jordy, Driver, and James Jones, to me is and tell me if you disagree, Greg, the last time there were 4 guys that he fully trusted on any given play. Now, I'm not saying this is going to have that same result where you guys win a Super Bowl and then the next year you go 15-1. Obviously, playoffs didn't go the way you had hoped. But I do think that this is what Rodgers has been, I don't want to say pining for, but one of the things that Rodgers has been frustrated about is it's felt to him, while they've been trying to develop the younger guys, MVS and Lazard notably, and let Cobb walk out the door, that he had Davante and then a big drop-off. And obviously there's still a big drop-off between Davante because he's so good, but Wilds, if he can rely on those other 3 guys consistently, it's going to make Davante's job much easier, and it's going to make this offense all the more dynamic.
Okay, I totally agree with you, and I agree with you too, Greg. But it reminds me a little bit of Brady, where we knew that the Bucs receiving core was excellent, but Brady still had something in his heart for AB, and they went out and got AB. We know that our old buddy Jake Kummerow still out there in Buffalo. You got to make a move for him, Gutekunst. We know you can't have too many great guys. Let's get Kummerow. I know Beasley might end up just becoming a full-time MC, but in the price of Kummerow is going to go up if that happens. But go out and get Kummerow. It's a little extra benefits, like when you're giving somebody birthday presents. Here's one more. It's like Steve Jobs. Here's one more thing. New iPhone. Go get Kummerow, Gutekunst. Can't go wrong. Kummerow.
Just real quick, Greg, did I insult you with the comparison, or is it a fair comp? I wanted to hear Wild's take, so I didn't get to ask you. Or is it it's a fair comp?
No, it's fair comp. It's fair comp. We were much better.
I was worried.
Much better.
No, nobody would say that.
See, there it is.
I knew he was going to say that. I knew it. I knew it. We were
Is that fair comp?
better.
Kind of like.
I got to.
Set up to New